Well, hello, MGTOW. No scenery for you, only red pills. And we're gonna get to it right away. No bullshit. So today, I want to talk about motorcycle gangs. And most of us are fed an image through the popular media that women in certain organizations are held back, that they are abused, that they're beaten, that they are property in some sense, but the kind of property that's not taken care of, but rather abused, mistreated. And the image of the bad boy in the motorcycle gang, it's it's one of those things that comes to mind when we think of how wrong women have been treated in the past, and this and that other nonsense, right? We think of the bad boy full of tattoos, some big guy, maybe a white guy or a black guy, right? Or even a Hispanic, but borderline criminal that is selling drugs, abusing alcohol, revving up a 1200 cc motorcycle, and it has to be a Harley, right? And we fed the image of this guy that hangs around bars, right? And his dealing with women, his dealings with women are nothing but but if not just it's they mistreat women, right? They beat on women, they verbally abuse them, right? And we're fed the lie that these women are victims, right? That they're victims of their circumstances, held up by a group of villains, such as those found in a motorcycle gang. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that if you're part of a motorcycle club that you're a saint, right? Many of these guys have they've come from combat, or they they've had to do what they had to do to become a 1%er, right? Or even a 3%er. So we're not dealing with saints here. But my take here is that the women who join these organizations, and they do choose to join these organizations. Women choose to join these organizations. They're not coerced into them. They're worse than the men. Now, why do I say this, right? Well, number one, she's after the bad boy, right? She's after the bad boy image. She's looking for adventure, right? We have this image of the motorcycle guy that loves to ride, right? He's out in the open, right? Free from government oppression, and free from the daily toil that most of us face, right? Having to work, having to go to work, having to commute to work, having to be accountable, right? Having to be accountable to a chain of command, right? Or to someone higher than us in the chain of command. And so she's after this image of this guy that offers freedom and fun and excitement and adventure, right? She can be a passenger in a motorcycle. Never mind the fact that most motorcycle accidents involving passengers, women, tend to end up fatal, and there's a big reason for that, right? The guy in front, he's out to show his bravado, right? He's out to show how much of a man he is for her, right? And he's likely to make hasty decisions in in traffic situations that require his full attention, right? And she may panic in the back of the motorcycle, simply because that's what women do, right? They don't keep their cool. They panic in stressful situations. And so this leads to his death, right? As well as hers. But that's not the issue here. The issue here is that these women, they're after the bad boys, right? The bad boys. They don't want the beta males. They want the alpha male. You know, the guy with the arms that look like legs because they're so thick, right? They don't care about a hardworking man. And so she joins this club, right? She joins this group. And, you know, the way it is in these organizations, she becomes property, right? She becomes the property of an individual within the group. Now, this is key. She doesn't become property of the group now. She doesn't become the group's bicycle, or should I say motorcycle? She becomes property of an individual, usually a male that has high status within the group, because even within motorcycle gangs, right, there is a pecking order, right? Just like there's a chain of command. And so she's after, you know, she becomes the property of this guy, right? But it's all to her benefit, right? Yeah, he may beat her from time to time because, you know, she might have deserved it, right? In his eyes, right? And in her eyes as well. And she'll never report it, right? Because that's her protection, right? These groups, they live outside or just outside mainstream, mainstream society, right? And going into a police station and asking for protection from a group when you know you're part of the group, it's just frowned upon. And so women don't do it, right? They cling to this guy, right? To this specific guy. But interestingly enough, when her man goes to jail, the tattoo that she might have gotten with his name on, right? His name on her arm or whatever, right? Or in her ass. It serves as an insurance policy. It serves as a way for her to protect herself against an unwanted sexual advance from any of the newcomers to the group, right? Or the guys that are already even established there, right? Everybody knows that's let's just give the guy a name. That's Billy's property, right? Everybody knows that's Billy's property, and Billy is locked up, right? Billy's doing a stint, 5 years or whatever, right? And and she has to wait for him until he comes out, right? If word gets around that she's been sleeping around, when Billy comes out, there are gonna be some accounts to be settled. But so she's got to be very careful about how she goes about doing her satisfying her sexual desires, right? And we all know that women tend to have more sexual partners than men, especially in these groups that tend to live outside the mainstream. And so she's very careful about that, right? She may work at a bar or whatever, right? Serving beer. She gets hit on all the time, but she's very careful to protect her image, right? And the fact that she's sleeping around. She does not want Billy or any of his buddies to find out that she's been doing them all. She has to be very careful about navigating that because again, that is her protection, right? Any of those bikers, right, that are at that bar. Let's have a bar scene here for a second. Say she's serving beer, behind the counter at a biker's bar, right? And say there's 100 guys right in there, and so 90 of those guys or 80 of those guys know that that's Billy's property, right? And if anybody steps out of line, right, tries to make a sexual advance on her or whatever, and she doesn't like it, right? Any of those 80 guys will turn into white knights at any given time, and defend Billy's property because his boy is locked up, through no fault of his own, right? Quote unquote, no fault of his own. Billy's locked up doing a 5-year stint, somebody snitched or whatever. He ended up doing time, or he did time for one of his buddies, you know, to cover him up, right? And so Billy's a good guy, but he just happened to be locked up. And now this this newcomer, or this punk that, you know, nobody knows at this bar, is just making a sexual advance onto Billy's property. How dare he, right? So they jump onto this guy. They become white knights for this woman. So in a sense, she has this insurance policy. She's protected by the group, and you know, but she's been doing all kinds of things. But when Billy comes out, again, she's, you know, she never stops taking advantage of that, of the fact that she's Billy's property. And so in that sense, motorcycle gangs, and if you take into account the, you know, the expensive bikes, right, the leather clothing, if you take into account, you know, even the advertisement for all these, you know, for these motorcycles, right, if you take into account the fights that these guys get into, motorcycle gangs are super gynocentric or hyper gynocentric institutions. They're all geared, for lack of a better word, they are geared to the wishes, right, to satisfying the wishes of women. And that is the one thought that I wanted to leave you guys with today. When you see a group of guys rolling down a highway or whatnot, yes, they do love the freedom of the open road on their bikes, right? It's beautiful to just squeeze the throttle and have this apparatus, this machine that just seemed to have fallen from heaven, just, you know, take you through the wind, and just so much freedom, right? Yes, guys do love that. They like that. But there's also the gynocentric aspect of being, you know, part of that group. There's the brotherhood, yes, but also there are the women who are involved, and these women are nothing if not as evil as any hardcore dyke feminist out there. So anyways, thank you for listening, guys. If you like the video, please do share and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up, even if you particularly don't agree or whatever, but you found it interesting and you learned something new. Give the video a thumbs up. This helps other men find it, and that's what the whole idea is, so that we have different ideas coming onto the manosphere. We don't need the same exact ideas, you know, repeated over and over again. We need new ideas, even though they may be somewhat different from what we've accustomed to using. I'm sorry, to listening to. So with that said, I'll catch you in the next video, and I have many more things to say regarding feminism and how it relates to the rest of society. And I hope that when I do send out a red pill, or put out a red pill in one of these videos here, you at least consider it, right? If it offends you, because, you know, it may have atheist believes in it, or vegan believes, or whatever, right? At least consider it. That's what part of being a MGTOW is. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.